Hello and welcome to another session about the war in Gaza at the Institute for Policy and Strategy at Reichman University. We are entering the end of week 7 of the war in Gaza. In today's session, we will focus on 3 main issues. 1, freeing the hostages. 2, destroying Hamas. And 3, the exit strategy. What are we going to do after the war? And for that, we're going to talk with Amos Gilead. Hello, Amos.
Hello, good
How
morning.
are you? And Amos, I want to start this interview with the issue of the hostage issue. We are hearing the last few days that it seems like some of the hostages are going to come back home really soon in the next few days. Is that correct? Is that really the situation, that we're going to see them in the next few days?
Yes, there is a decision, joint decision, sponsored by the United States of America. Qatar is the sponsor of Hamas, with deep intervention, intensive and very efficient intervention of the Republic of Egypt. And altogether, I don't call them hostages, they are kidnapped. We are talking about Kfir. He's a baby, 10 months old, and he will be released 1 month before he will get to 1 year. I mean, all of them babies and girls and innocent people. That state of Israel is responsible for this fiasco, and we need, as a strategic goal, humanitarian goal, as a goal by itself, we need to have them back. And that will happen in the coming days, since tomorrow, Friday.
And these are great news. You support this decision, this deal?
I'm more than support. I think it's a must. It's a must to release them, even there is some contradiction to the operational dimension, but we are obliged to them. State of Israel is obliged to them. That reflects very well the moral values of the Judaism, and we need to do it as soon as possible. If I could do it, or if I can do it tomorrow, it will be better today than tomorrow, but tomorrow it will begin. We need to keep an eye on Hamas. There is no trust in them, but we trust the agreement that's sponsored by, as I've said, United States of America, Qatar, Egypt, and Sanawar agreed. Of course, he has his goals, but that's not so important.
Okay, so I want to talk now a little bit about the other voices. There are voices in Israel, they're talking about priorities and saying we need first to destroy Hamas, and the second priority need to be freeing the hostages. What do you say about that?
I think they are wrong, and I'm very happy that our Prime Minister, that maybe supported this attitude, is supporting the opposite attitude, to release them, and to release whoever we can. We do have lessons from the past, that we thought that we did have the time to release, like Roni. And in this issue of hostages, human life, you never know what will happen tomorrow, and even what will happen today. So it's like SOS. If you can release hostages, kidnapped, babies, old men, women, soldiers, young people, young girls, young women, you need to do it now. This is mega goal. And this criticism, of course, it has its internal logics. I think that we haven't experienced such a fiasco and horrible experience, like kidnapping so many people, so many Israeli Jews, only because they're Jews. Their life is in danger, and we need to release them. About Sanawar, Sanawar's son, I think he made a mistake, and sooner or later, his Hamastan would collapse. But in this argument, I'm so happy that the government has approved it with overwhelming majority, and with the recommendation of IDF, the Mossad, the Shabak, the military intelligence, all security defense intelligence organizations are supporting it, with all the problems. It's a very difficult decision, but we need to take it.
Okay, and you said you mentioned a little bit Hamas and destroying Hamas. That's my second topic that I want to talk to you about. One of the, like I said in the introduction, one of the main goals of the Israeli government, also the IDF and the intelligence organizations, is really destroying Hamas. And we have also, it's looked like we have support from the US government. So, but what does it mean, Amos, destroying Hamas?
Hamastan is a combination of government and very dangerous terror organizations that reminds the ISIS. I mean, they are responsible. The leadership of Hamas ordered the terrorists to murder, to commit atrocities. They are responsible for unbelievable atrocities against whoever is Jew. Nevertheless, he's a woman or baby or whatever. They stabbed them, they raped, they beheaded, variety of atrocities as a result of direct command and directive from the leadership of Hamastan. Hamastan is an entity in Gaza. I call it Hamastan. Very small area, crowded area, that controlled totally by Hamas. Hamas has goal, strategic goal, to destroy Israel and to join hands with Muslim brothers in order to change the whole Middle East. Based on the atrocities, they are surprised. We don't have any choice rather than to destroy this Hamastan combination of government and terror organization, very dangerous one. There is no other choice. We need to do it. We need to do it automatically after we have realized what happened, and we need to do it vis-a-vis the axis of evil that Hamas is part of it, namely led by Iran and Hezbollah and Houthis, and the whole axis is based on vision to destroy Israel. We need even to keep our deterrence, beginning with it, and again, based on the directives they've got from the leadership to murder, and they've committed them, they implemented them, they need to disappear as organizations. So the claim is that you cannot cope with ideas. Okay, ideas, it's a different story. If you look around the Middle East, only in Turkey you can find Muslim brothers, and in Gaza. In Gaza it will collapse. This entity will collapse. I think it's one of the main surprises of Sanawar, the brutal leader of Hamas. He couldn't imagine that he would pay, and the cost would be destroyment of Hamastan as an entity in Gaza.
And how Israel can make sure that Hamas won't rise again?
We can, I mean, you're talking about the future. What we are doing now is destroying the infrastructure of government. And I think that they are very, very close to collapse as government. As their organization, it's longer war, but we are on the right way. And the IDF is fantastic. The performance of the IDF is fantastic. The greatest job you can imagine. Militarily, tactically, strategically, and they are motivated. This is the highest motivation you can imagine, and based on the atrocities and the terror attack on Israel that was aimed to destroy Israel from inside and to ignite regional confrontation, because based on the image of weakness, they maybe thought that Iran and Hezbollah and all our enemies would attack us. Now, two major surprises they do have. First, the atrocities need to lead us to destroy them, and we are on the way. And the second surprise, that they will enjoy coalition of the axis of evil, and they will not. There is tension in the northern part of Israel, southern part of Lebanon, threats coming from Syria, Iraq, and Houthis, namely Yemen, but we are coping with them. This is not the full-scale coalition that Sanawar expected or is expecting even now.
Okay, so I want to stay in this topic for a few seconds, because Amos, I heard like some interviews in which you really emphasized that Hamas has failed. But when you see that we have more than 200 hostages in Gaza, they slaughtered more than 1,000 Israelis, and they look like they succeeded. So does Hamas failed?
7th of October will be remembered.
Please elaborate this, because it's very important, because we've seen...
It's an excellent question. 7th of October, it's a worst day in the history of State of Israel. Hamas succeeded, and the whole system, the military, the intelligence failed. Since the 8th of October, or 9th of October, there is dramatic change. And what I've talked about, what I'm talking now about is strategic failure of Sanawar. He was absolutely confident, maybe he is today, that after the massacre, he will survive, will be able to be considered as hero like Salah ad-Din, and then to extend his operational activity to the West Bank or Judea and Samaria. He won't be able to do it because we are going to destroy this conglomerate of terror. And also, if I'm looking, based on my acquaintance with the Arab leaders, against what you see in the public arena scene, you can come very easily to conclusions that United States of America, the free world, the Sunni Arab countries want the destruction of Hamastan as a basis for recovery and enhancement and cementing the axis of the same Arab countries led by United States with Israel.
So you're saying they have the same goal as Israel?
Yes.
That's very
Not the same motivation, because Hamas didn't, but Hamas, I give you an example from history. Hamas cooperated with ISIS in Sinai. In spite of the fact that they are enemies in Gaza, they used to cooperate against Egypt. So if you don't stop them, you don't contain them, that was maybe our mistake along the years, that we encourage them from some reasons. However, today, it's a common goal. We need to destroy them. Afterwards, we need some exit strategy that will join hands with United States, Arab countries to enhance and to cement the axis of peace.
We are going to talk about the exit strategy. I want to ask you another question about the same topic of destroying Hamas. How does the humanitarian crisis can affect the support of the U.S. government?
Humanitarian dimension is always very important. It's not only military. I was responsible for Gaza twice in my life, and the humanitarian dimension is very important. It's an integral part of the flexibility that you have to operate in Gaza, the timetables that you need in order to complete the missions. And of course, humanitarian speaking, it's very important to take care of the Palestinians, the population there. What I can see that IDF is launching a humanitarian effort to support the Palestinians with interference or with advice of United States and other European countries. That's very important. And Arab countries, that's also very important. The Egyptians are sending trucks and lorries and other vehicles in order to facilitate the difficult life the Palestinians are facing. And I hope, and I even pray for that after we destroy Hamas, their life will be much better.
Yeah, we hope so. So let's talk about the day after, the exit strategy. And every war needs to have an exit strategy.
Absolutely.
So when we look ahead to the day after, what should it look like? What would be the best outcome for Israel, Amos?
The best outcome is very similar to what President Biden, President of the United States, has offered in a very important article that he published in Washington Post. I feel very convenient with this strategy. Namely, we need the Palestinians. We must not control directly Gaza. Otherwise, it will be long occupation of 2.2 million Palestinians. That's disaster. That's burden on the shoulders of the IDF and State of Israel. What we need is to enhance and to cement the peace axis. We need to begin with Palestinian, I think Palestinian Authority or others that I cannot foresee in my imagination, with massive support by leading Arab countries like Egypt, Gulf states and so on, including recovery efforts of Gaza that is like a disaster area today. And in the future, what we need is extending the peace with Saudi Arabia and enhancing the military axis that is under the flag of United States Armed Forces CENTCOM. I mean, we are in a military alliance, and the civilian one, and altogether the peace, the axis of peace vis-a-vis the axis of evil, that's the strategic answer to our important operation now in Gaza.
And the Palestinian Authority, it's really the best solution
No,
for
they
Israel?
are, no, you cannot call best
Not
Palestinian
best, like
Authority.
worse, because there is worse
In
and
Middle
worse.
East, I am accustomed to have two options between the worst and the worst. For the time being, they hate Hamas because Hamas want to destroy them too. And against the propaganda, they are not dealing with terror. Some ministries in Israel, some ministers are determined to weaken them. They do have apparatus in Gaza. The Palestinian Authority used to finance their officials in Gaza $120 million per month. Now we are taking this money from them. That's a mistake. And this is the infrastructure we need to rely on, and to rely on the United States strategies that saved Israel in the worst day of our history, and not to alienate ourselves from them. That's my perception. We need the Arab countries. We need the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan, that is very much affected by the Palestinians. Practically, they embody strategic depths of Israel until Iraq. This is a huge area. And Egypt, 110 million Egyptians are the leaders of they were the pioneers. They have been the first to sign peace treaty with Israel. And Saudi Arabia is very important economically, strategically, and so on. Altogether, we do have a chance that after this bloody confrontation in Gaza, it will lead us to new optimistic future, but we need to cooperate with the United States and Arab countries and to enhance the strategic axis. We need strategy. We need exit strategy. And what Prime Minister Netanyahu has said, I would have military grip on Gaza. About the civilian, and others said somebody would solve it. There is no somebody. We do have United States, the friend of Israel, unbelievable friendship, and we need to join forces with them and to use this very gloomy historic moment of 7th of October. We need to turn it, to change it, to become the bright future. It's possible.
It's possible. So that's great news. That's great to hear that it's possible and we can do it. Amos, we have I think few minutes left. I want to ask you now about the normalization agreement. Where do we stand with the Saudis? Because it's very connected to what's happened now with the war. The war didn't stop the
very
the
important
process.
Issue and question. I think the Saudis are interested. It's vital interest, vested interest of Saudi Arabia, the way I understand them, to sign strategic alliance with the United States. And they need to pay with normalization with Israel. That will extend the alliance that we do have. The Middle East looks terrible. However, if you look at the positive Middle East, you have Egypt, huge country. You have Saudi Arabia. All of them are united behind the goal to defeat terror and to defeat hostile forces like Iran. So I think there is interest, national security interest of the United States to have this alliance. We will need to pay with some Palestinian dimensions that was ignored by political leadership that thought, I think wrongly, always I think it's a mistake, that you can ignore the Palestinians. It's impossible even if you want it. And altogether, I would like to portray again, we need to put the Palestinians to take over the civilian arena of Gaza with peace axis with leading Arab countries, led by United States and the free world, and the reconstruction financed by the Gulf states. They will not finance it without peace process.
And you can say that the war in Gaza made it even more urgent than it was before?
Urgent and feasible.
What
yes,
does it mean?
It sounds like, I do have dreams, because you are always, human beings are always impressed by the immediate impression. However, that's why we need vision. That's why we need strategy. And I am optimistic about it.
And there are some things that are happening behind the scene while we are talking now, while the war in Gaza...
I'm sure, but still we need to defeat Hamas first. And we are on the way. It's not easy the way I describe it, but it's possible. Okay. And it's needed, and it's essential.
Amos, with all your experience and everything you bring to the table, What's the best advice you can give to the Prime Minister, to the IDF, to the intelligence organization? The best advice you can give them?
The best advice to continue releasing the efforts to release the hostages. Mm-hmm. That's a must. Secondly, they don't need my advice because they know it without me. To defeat Hamas. And then the main recommendation I do have is to have an exit strategy in order to bring us to better future, strategically, militarily, economically, against the main threat of Israel is Iran and the proxies, Hezbollah until Houthis. We do have a variety of enemies. Iran is a threshold nuclear state, Hezbollah very dangerous. And if you want strategic, that's what my recommendation, you need strategic power. Strategic power relies on two pillars, military might and wisdom.
Do we have that in Israel?
Potentially,
even now,
yes.
After the October 7th?
No, potentially, I'm sure we do have it, but it depends on the leadership. Here, I'm not optimistic. As long as there is no dramatic change in our leadership, I'm not optimistic.
And what is the dramatic change, if I may
Dramatic
ask?
change, I think after such fiasco, we need change of government.
Okay. So with this optimistic point of view, we will end this interview. So thank you very much, Amos. It was really enlightening interview. Thank you.